Hello. I've not done one of these in a while, so apologies if I'm a bit rusty. This is going to be a funny one. This is going to be a workshop about starting to organize. I was at a Animal Rising Zoom call the other day, and it was about sort of a breakdown between Animal Rising and their volunteers, and they were trying to come to some sort of conclusion as to how the relationship between them will go. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Animal Rising this year have launched a massive campaign against the RSPCA Short Scheme, where they drew in a ridiculous amount of activists, like hundreds of activists all across the nation. First in a massive postering campaign, which was amazing. They covered the entire nation in posters. And then in a sort of leafleting campaign and signature gathering campaign outside RSPCA shops. And they set out with these goals. And the goals were to get like the chair, the vice chair, and all these important sort of positions within the RSPCA to either, push for a change in policy or resign. And they achieved that, right? Like every position that they wanted to sort of come out on their side have come out on their side, and most of them have now resigned, if not all of them have resigned, and they don't actually know who to talk to in the RSPCA anymore. So they've sort of realized that this campaign is sort of running, the amount of effort that's being put in is no longer actually able to sort of make progress, and thus they're moving on to other things. But the problem is that they have all these volunteers, right? They have hundreds of volunteers, some of which have never, done animal rights activism before outside of this campaign, who don't know what to do, right? And they want to keep running these campaigns because they feel sort of comfortable and secure running these campaigns for animal rights. And that's where I came. I don't really know I presume most people who watch this know who I am, but I run activism independently. I run a group called Leeds Animal Rights Activists in Leeds. We run various events for different organisations, but we also run independent events just ourselves. And we do that because we realised that being connected to just one organisation was really constricting, and it stopped us doing what we wanted to do. So I'm here to sort of tell you that you don't need an organisation. You don't need that security. You don't need that one person to look after you. So if you're watching this and you want to do activism and you don't really know how, I'm going to tell you. So the first thing that you should do, before you, even if you're dead set on organising, you should check the local organisations in your city. You should check to see if there's a Viva. You should check to see if there's an AV, a We the Free, We Stand for the Animals, what's the other one? Earthlings Experience. Check to see if they exist, right? And if they do, reach out to them, go to those events, right? And just see what they do, right? See how many people are there, see what's going on. If they're in nearby cities, maybe still go, right? Because it might be that people from your city or your town go to those cities in order to do activism because there is nothing in your town, right? It's also worth checking out if there's a vegan runners. Go see if there's anyone running in your city who's vegan as well, because that's a form of activism. It's a good form of activism, right? Once you've done that, and if you've found out that there's no one anywhere near you, right, and it's a ghost town, right, now we have to set up an organization. Now we have to do it ourselves, right? So the most important things for this is find a friend, right? It's really, it's a lot easier to do any task if you have someone else who's as invested as you, at least for the start. Even if they're only invested at the start, that's fine. Until you gather more people, find a friend, right? Order some leaflets, right? There's a bunch of different organizations, Animal Aid, Animal Justice Project, PETA, Viva. They'll all send you leaflets for free. Go on their website, order some leaflets, right? Buy some chalk. Go to a market, go to, a craft shop, go anywhere that sells cheap chalk that's used for writing on pavements or whatever. Buy that, right? Just enough to chalk stuff on the ground. Right, and set up a social media group, right? It can be WhatsApp, it can be Instagram, it can be Facebook, whatever it is, don't care. Set up something, right? And then what you need to do is you need to hold an event, right? So it can be as simple as you going out into the street with your chalk, chalking on the ground, vegans save lives, or pigs are killed in gas chambers, or whatever. Sorry, my dog's being really annoying. Sorry, come here. Idiot dog. Why do we save these animals? Why? They're so annoying. Sorry, that is a joke. So it can be as simple as going out into the street and chalking something on the ground. And people will read it. No matter what you write on the ground, people will stop and they'll read it. Right? And the moment they read it, you put a leaflet in their hands. And you say, hey, have you ever considered veganism? Right? Or you say, what do you think of the chalk? Or you know, just say, what do you think? Right? Say whatever you want. Right? Say something really simple that invites them to have a conversation with you. And then have that conversation. And congratulations, you're not doing vegan activism. Right? This is the cheapest and easiest way to do vegan activism ever. Right? People think it's really hard and you need TVs and you need free food and you need all this stuff. You don't. You need leaflets, you need chalk, and you need 2 people. And you're doing activism. Right? You're doing street outreach. If this works and you get going and you find a few people, keep doing this. Right? This is a really good form of outreach. Maybe consider reaching out to other organizations. There's some that are really easy to get in, like on the ground level, right? Viva is a really good one to just, do an event. Animal Justice Project will occasionally run campaigns. They're really good to just get in and do an event. We the Free and AV are a bit harder. They'll want you to crowdfund for TVs. Obviously, if you have the money to buy TVs, you don't even need to reach out to We the Free or AV. Just buy your own TVs and keep running the activism. But if you got to the point now where you're running a group, and you just want to get a bit more traction, get a bit more sort of like people at your event, like the first thing is every time you're out on the street talking to people, you're promoting your event. Every time you run into a vegan at that event, be like, hey, have you ever considered activism? This is our social group. This is our WhatsApp group. This is our social media group. This is our Facebook group. Whatever it is, invite them to it. Get them in your social media, right? Because the moment they're in there, right, people are obsessed with social media. People spend all fucking day on social media. If they're in your group, right, and your events pop up, they might just come, right? Facebook is the devil. Facebook is awful, right? But Facebook is great for activism, right? Even if you don't have an account, make one for activism. It's a really good platform for activism, right? Everything else, fucked, but you want to start networking, right? If you have, work out how much privilege you have. Right? If you have the privilege of money, maybe get some TVs if you have a few people, right? If you have a few people like constantly showing up. If you have the privilege of time, go visit other events, right? If there's an AV group half an hour away from you on the train, or an hour away from you on the train, or We the Free half an hour or an hour away from you on the train, go visit that group and be like, hey, I'm doing activism in, X city 1 mile that way, 1 hour's journey that way, right? And it might be that you can stagger your events so that people can come to both. It might be that people from that group want to come to you. It might be that people from that group already live in your city and do their events. Go to local vegan runners, right? Go to Viva, go to AV, go to We the Free, go to Humane League, go to Earth Things Experience, We Stand for the Animals, whatever there is in your local area. If there's vegans there, go see them and be like, hey, I run activism here. Hey, I run activism here. Right? Every conversation you ever have with a vegan ever, tell them you run activism in your city, right? Because that's the information about you they need to know. Because that's the thing that you're doing. And I think it's important, like, sort of closing comment, inspire people, right? Like, this movement is built on people wanting to do things because they see other people doing them and they think, I couldn't do that, right? But if you're constantly someone who's showing people that you're doing the stuff that the impossible people are doing, all of a sudden they're like, hey, maybe I could do that. There's a woman in London who runs Earth Thing Experience, right? She runs 2 events every week. I never shut the fuck up about this woman. I don't even know her real name. I know her Facebook name, and that changes every now and then, right? Earth Things Experience London. Look it up, right? She runs 2 events every single week. I've started running 1 event every single week, along with various other stuff that I do, which probably makes Leeds the most active city in the entire of the UK, except for London, which is bonkers, right? It's really not that hard to run one event every week once you have a dedicated group of people, right? For the first 4 or 5 weeks, there was only 5 of us, right? And I think on a few occasions, there was 2 of us, and we still stood on the street with TVs, right? And yeah, it's not particularly nice getting abused in the street, but we do it on Friday nights. You don't have to do it on Friday nights, right? But if you find people who are inspired by you, right, and somehow this inspires people, so I'm sure you guys will have an easy chance and an easy job inspiring people, right? But if you find people who are inspired by you, they will come to your events, right? If when you talk about the activism you do, you talk about changing people's hearts and minds, right? You talk about the people at the event who did decide to go vegan. You talk about the people who said, oh shit, this is really cool activism you're doing. I might come to your events, and then they show up, right? You will build a movement, and that's what we need to do, right? We need a movement where we don't rely on a parent organization to tell us to run one event every month, right? And tell us exactly how to do it and grind us down and sort of like defeat us, right? What we need every single large city in the UK to have a solid grassroots connection of people. And within that little connection of people, one person running vegan runners, one person running, We the Free or AV or Viva or whatever they want to run, some independent chalking events, right? Maybe occasionally they do a speciesism event, maybe they have an earthling experience. We need a small group of activists, right, who do a lot of different things and keep the variety there and are independent, right, and are inspiring each other, right? Because that is possible, right? And it's really easy, right? It's really not that hard. But the moment that we see activism as other people sending us leaflets, other people telling us what events to run, other people telling us how to run our events, right? And then it doesn't work, right? We need to rise up from the bottom, not wait for these organizations to tell us what to do. Animal Rising has done an amazing thing, right? They've done a phenomenal thing. They have taken activists who didn't exist, just unactive vegans, right? And they've dragged them out and they've inspired them, right? And they've given them fucking posters and fucking told them how to make flour wheat paste glue, right? And hundreds of you have gone out into the country and put posters everywhere. And that's amazing. But we can't be reliant on Animal Rising to print out thousands and thousands of pounds of leaflets and posters for the future of our events, right? We need to start taking charge. We need to start building from the bottom up with the amount of sort of interest that they've built for us. I never thought I'd be the person running the most active city in the UK, Barland. Never in my wildest dreams. I got into this shit because I just wanted to be the best activist I could be. I actively told my friends I did not want to organise, right? Because when I was at an event, I wanted to focus on doing activism. I wanted to focus on talking to people, on having the conversations, right? But if I don't run the events won't exist, right? So I've started doing it, and it's dead easy, right? Build it and they will come. Someone at the Animal Rising meeting said to me that we need more people like Jess. We need more Jesses, right? But I'm really not special. I'm really not. I got here entirely by accident, right? And I started off by going to WH Smith's and buying some chalk, right? And going on Animal Aid and ordering some leaflets. And I went to Bradford and I chalked on the ground with my friends and we handed out those leaflets. Go do that. If you don't know how to do activism, start by doing that. See you in a bit, team. Good luck. I want to add one more thing. I was supposed to talk about this, but I forgot. Today, my friend told me something. We'd been having a conversation. They were scared about the amount of transphobia happening in America. And I was scared about the amount of transphobia happening in America. And they said to me they don't know what to do. And I said to them that if I was in America, then I would be, instead in the student union, encouraging cis people to use the wrong pronouns. Because in the UK, in the US now, you're only allowed 2 genders. You can either be a she or a he. You can either be a boy or a girl. But no one's telling people that they can't misrepresent their gender. No one's saying that cis people can't go by she, her, like cis boys can't go by she, her. And no one's saying that cis girls can't go by he, him. And if you have an entire population of students who are misrepresenting their gender, then trans people feel safer. Right? And they said to me, that's a crazy idea, Jess. Would it work? And I was like, I don't know, but I'd try it. And if it didn't work, I'd try something else. And they were like, can you just do that? Can you just go out and just try things? I was like, yeah, you can. Today they told me that, having had that conversation with me, they booked a room in their university to use for a meeting. And that they invited all of the friends that they know who are trans or trans allies to come and have a meeting with them. And they also told me that they told all of their friends and their allies who are queer or trans to invite their friends too. And their first ever meeting that they've organized on their own is going to have 33 people. And I fucking cried. Because they didn't just go away and think about it. They went away and they did it. And they're going to sit today in a meeting. And they're going to discuss ways that they can organize to protest what is going on in America. To make trans people feel safe in their university. To raise money. To do more activism. And they're a trans person themselves with disabilities and neurodivergencies. They are not a privileged person. They now know that this is something that they have to do because their state is coming for them. Right? They don't have the privilege of not doing something. We're lucky as vegan activists because we're not the victim. We're advocating for beings that we don't need to advocate for. It wouldn't, we wouldn't be dragged away and killed if we just sat in our homes and didn't contribute. But think about if we were the victim. Our advocacy and our activism would be so much more important to us then. Why can't it be that important to us now? I told my friend today that they were now the thing that I respected the most in the whole world. That they were an activism organizer. That they were an organizer. And they cried. Go be organizers. Peace. One last thing. I'm really sorry. If you don't know what to do and you want advice, email me. I spend my whole life talking to activists and vegans about how they can get involved with activism. You can write a comment in this video, you can write to me on Facebook, you can write to me on social media, you can send me an email at justdoingactivism at gmail.com. Let's get you doing activism. Right, it's the last outro, I promise. All the best.